Hi, I'm Vizzy. I like making diagrams, so let's get right into it. This is the modern theory of love, adapted from Sternberg's triangular theory of love. So here we have love based on 3 different criteria. So let's break each one down and then talk about how they overlap. First is attunement. You'll most commonly see attunements in friendships with others. You'll see attunement begin in childhood, although obviously this doesn't mean that only children have friends, just that it starts here and the other 2 categories aren't nearly as relevant for a child. Many people cultivate friendships by their identity. Maybe you come from the same cultural background. Maybe you're in the same classes. Or maybe you're the same gender. It can also involve your behavior. Maybe you're both impulsive. Maybe you're both quiet in your interests. Maybe you're both creative. Or maybe you both like sports. This is of course not an exhaustive list as to why you'd like somebody, but these are very prevalent. Attunement involves the heart. So the heart, in the way I'd describe it, is your connections, your relationships, your self-care, or your community. If you want to learn more about the heart, I'll have it linked in the cards above. And for a more simplified version, you could see attunement as saying, I like who you are. Next is attraction. So a relationship that only is based on attraction is a hookup, or some casual fling. So if you're attuned to them, or you're attached to them, doesn't really matter. This primarily starts in adolescence, and can be based on appearance. How do you dress? How do you sound? Your charm, which can be taken as a combination of things. Maybe you like a partner that's confident, or someone that's competent at what they do, and their niche. Now, because attraction varies so differently, many things for appearance and charm can be universal, or generally understood to be attractive. But niche fulfills the category of things that may be divisive, like tattoos, or piercings, or dyed hair. So if you decide to do any of those things, you may be seen as more attractive by a select group, and now less attractive to another. Attraction very much has to do with the body, which the way I describe it is your wellness, your rest, your macros, your exercise, your hygiene. And if you were to simplify it, you would say, I like how you look. And lastly, we have attachment. So attachment can be seen with coworkers, or colleagues, or teammates. So this does differ slightly from how Sternberg defined this, as he claims this side to be more empty love, which I think a coworker can encompass. You have to work with them regardless of your attraction or if you like them. So naturally, you start seeing this closer to adulthood, as you begin to cultivate more professional relationships. So attachment has to do with values. If you value or believe the same thing, it's easier for you to be attached to one another. It has to do with your skill. What do you know how to do? Do you know how to cook? Or do you make good money? And your support. So can you provide security? Can you make me feel safe? So attachment has to do with the soul. And the way I describe it is your career, your goals, your leisure, your hobbies. What is your life purpose? Many times that will encompass what exactly it is you value about life. So if you were to sum up attachment, it is, I like what you do. So now that we've talked about each of the categories, let's talk about how they overlap with each other. When you like who somebody is, and you like how they look, but you are not attached to them, you're in a situationship. So this is a casual relationship that can vary in quality. Many people can find themselves stuck here when their partner does not want to commit. And as we'll get to later, we'll see the reason why that is. So for the next one, when you like how someone looks, and you like what they do, and either you don't like who they are, or you don't know who they are, you're in a delusionship. So because you have no idea who this person is, you're solely going based on the fact that you're attracted to them. And for whatever reason based on what they've done, you're attached to them. I'd say delusionships are usually where crushes go. As the way I see it, most crushes are just a lack of information. It's that initial attraction to somebody, and maybe hearing or seeing what they can do. Like maybe they're a great musician, or a good chef, or they're really athletic. Those ideas can make you think, what could they do for me? In the end, being here is like a state of limbo. You may end up realizing that you just wanted to be friends with them, or that you were right with those feelings of attraction. But usually the type of people to get stuck in a delusionship aren't usually self-aware enough to know that that's what they're in. As it's not until they're made aware of it, then they can make the changes to push the relationship in a different direction. And lastly, when you like who they are and like what they do, you're in a partnership. Now, truthfully, this is not a bad situation to be in. As you age, your attraction to your partner will slowly diminish. So this can be thought of as the ideal position for an older couple. One that's already lived a good life together, and are enjoying the rest of their time together. But of course, there's still one slot in the middle. So this last one is ideal love. The concept of ideal love is a balance between all 3 types. You like who they are, you like how they look, and you like what they do. Because it's so well balanced, you find yourself fulfilled in each part of the relationship. However, because life is what it is not this simple. because what I've been showing you is the ideal version of this chart. Now, to put it simply, there are actually multiple charts. And really, it looks something more like this. The ideal version of love exists somewhere in the middle, and what we want exists inside and outside of this space. So maybe you're looking for something like this. Your ideal love right now is a situationship. You want a casual romantic relationship with somebody without having to be attached to them. And for you, that might work, but maybe the person you're wanting to be in a relationship with wants a partnership. They really don't put that much thought into how you look. And for them, they want a level of attachment that you're not providing. So naturally, this is where problems arise. Because there's an incongruence with what you both want, this will not work unless one person decides to change what they want. But as is probably the case, it might not happen. In the end, it's important to understand what exactly it is you want out of a relationship, whether that is the ideal or some other combination. Because realistically, like any diagram, this isn't a perfect assessment of what's going on, and is more of a simplification so you can understand basically what's going on. Because in the end, would it be better if everybody just wanted ideal love? Probably. I think if you are in a situation where there's incongruence between what you want and what your potential partner wants, at the end of the day, you're gonna have to communicate what that is. And that can be difficult to do. But the problem I think with modern dating now is a combination of things. The first and honestly most prevalent is the communication. It's always interesting when someone says communication is the key to a good relationship. But I would argue that communication is the entire relationship. Your partner is not going to know everything you want all of the time. Just not how it works. They aren't you. They're their own separate person. And asking them for what you want doesn't make what they do less romantic or less impactful. If you ask for something and your partner delivers, that's worth appreciating. People have this idea that ideal love just works out by itself. And that's just not true. It takes effective communication and care to love somebody, at least to properly love them. And I think the second problem is social media, which, albeit, is more recent. But it's exaggerated the issues that we currently have. Mainly now due to the fact that we see so many attractive people online all of the time. So you see people you're attracted to. You like who they present themselves to be online. And you can sometimes get attached to them in a parasocial relationship. Thus, there's no level of disconnect when you are offline and recognizing that the people you see online are an algorithmically assembled bunch of hot people. And when you can't separate that that's not real life, of course, when you get in a relationship with somebody or start dating someone, things can feel less exciting because they're not that person you saw online, or don't fit into this idea of what you think you deserve. Because the truth is, everyone does deserve love, but everyone is not entitled to it. Just because you're attracted to someone does not mean they owe you a relationship. Just because you two get along and like the same things, and they like who you are, does not mean they're attracted to you. And it doesn't mean they're attached to you either. Just because you're generally attractive doesn't mean you're for everybody. Not everyone will like you, and that's okay. And just because you do things for them does not mean that they like you. They could just appreciate the things that you're doing, and have no idea that the reason you're doing that for them is because you're attracted to them. So in conclusion, love is complicated, in the sense that we all want different things. Even if they're similar enough, they may not line up. So truthfully, if you want a relationship to work, you need to understand who you are, what you want, and not just that, how to get it. Because if you keep doing the same things and you don't make any changes, of course the world's not going to treat you any different. The same things are going to happen and you're going to be confused as to why things aren't getting better. And when it comes to love, I think this chart does a pretty good job talking about it. But what are your thoughts? Do you think this accurately assesses what love is? Do you think there's a part of the chart that you find yourself getting stuck in? I think for myself, I very much caught myself in many delusionships. And I think part of it was the fear of rejection, of knowing they weren't going to be attracted to me too. So it'd just be better to just give up, which I've thankfully gotten better at. So if you like this video, leave a like and subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching.